Season of Discovery was an experiment to see what's going to work for Classic Plus. That's what Agren said essentially in your guys' interviews. However, we found there is a ton of things that didn't work at all. So from Season of Discovery, what is one thing that you never, ever want to see in Classic Plus?
So for me in particular, I've always said that Season of Discovery is an experiment. I said it from the beginning, even when everybody said it was Classic Plus. I always thought it was an experiment. But the one thing I don't want them to bring back is, for example, incursions or things that trivialize the meaning of Classic, I guess, where things are like, this is the best way to level, the best gear, most efficient, gold farm, etc. I don't mind there being a very fast way to level if it gives you nothing else. So you get no gold, no gear, no nothing. So you're level 60 with 0. Would it be fun? Interesting, maybe, but like, it's okay to add faster or better things, just not one thing that gives every single thing possible with one form of gameplay. So that no incursions, but just keep experimenting, just not incursions in this case.
That's an interesting thing. I think most people will agree with that one. So Hammerdance, what is your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to 100% agree with Ebonheart there and echo that incursions. I guess I think about it a little bit differently. I personally wouldn't want them in at all, right? I think for me, it's super important for Classic to maintain what, like, you know, the appeal of Classic, the bulk of the game, what people loved and enjoyed the most was the leveling and being out in the world, right? Like, Classic Endgame is fun, but the majority of the game was designed to be like the leveling and like the adventure, right? So to me, incursions completely like kind of take away from that. But aside from that, one thing that I really wouldn't want to see in Classic Plus would be the I don't know, I forget what they called it back in when this was first coming out, but the like locking the leveling behind phases, right? I don't. Yeah, that.
I feel you.
I liked it in the beginning. I did really like it when we were in phase 1 at level 25, but I do think it really contributed a lot to a lot of negative feelings towards the game. It made a lot of people get burnt out. It made a lot of people quit. And then for other people who really like, there's a lot of people who play Classic to level, right? Like that's the way they play the game. Some people don't even step foot in raids or anything like that. They level and then they, you know, AFK in Alterac Valley for the entire life of their character, and that's what they enjoy. And I think everyone should be able to do that. And I think with like locking the phases behind like those level brackets, that was a killer for me. I did not like it after phase 1.
Yeah, I will agree with that 100%. Telo, is there anything else you would remove from Season of Discovery?
I mean, let's pack this game up. Besides that, though, I mean, let me tell you something, brother. I mean, honestly, I love SOD, right? And like, I think what the Hammer said and Evan said is absolutely right. You know, the incursions is one thing that I felt like forced people into a bubble without actually experimenting outside of that bubble and going to the classic things that we always loved, like, you know, dungeons and grinding with our friends and going through the open world. I think, you know, besides the incursions itself, that's something like if they were to ever come back to that idea, maybe, you know, go back to the drawing board and let's think a little bit more critically on how we actually express incursions and maybe reinvent them within dungeons themselves, so you keep players in the dungeons and have some type of new formed way where the content of the dungeons are changed based on the incursions within the dungeons to keep players in dungeons. But I think the main two things of my concern is, though, besides incursions, is I would love to see, you know, more support for like the events, you know, for example, like, you know, Ashenvale, you know, I've always been a bit advocate for the support of these events that are now dying out, you know, Ashenvale and STV and stuff like that. Now, whether they come back in Classic Plus or some form of event, I would just like to see continuous support for events that either A, have no more players playing them because players moved on because of the level gap, and B, also those vendors to be updated with possible new rewards to incentivize players to come back to those vendors and actually continue doing the events, keeping the LFG popping and keeping the community, you know, fed, pretty much.
You know, one thing that I find really strange, now that you mention it, how come they update STV loot every phase, but they didn't do it for Ashenvale? I know, I always found that was very weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm really looking forward to the future to see if they ever, you know, decide to take care of it more within SOD or even within Classic Plus, if they ever decide to bring those back or not bring it back. But that's just my thing.
Very well. No hit Jerome. Choppity choppity. What you gonna chop? I don't have an axe. I gotta have it.
So to me, this is basically the Path of Exile model. So every single version, every single season, we're getting some stuff that we like, some stuff we don't like. So pretty universally, everybody is like, okay, we don't like incursions. But for example, the Real system, I would have loved to see that in Phase 1 and Phase 2. So there's little things we're going to take out, little things we're going to leave. To me, the biggest one is the rune system. Just the way it's really hard to get alts to get the runes. Like, they still haven't fixed that yet. That's something that if they fix that earlier on, I think we'd have a lot more people playing. Just the idea of, like, I never got the melee runes for melee hunter, so I just never played that spec. And at this point, it's just too much effort to do it. So I think that's part of the reason we see the drop off, is that the runes are like just kind of annoying to go get them.
Get somewhat annoying every phase.
100%.
Yeah. The rune grind is terrible.
It's horrible. It's so
It is,
bad.
yeah.
It doesn't incentivize players wanting to come back to it.
Nope. And it's actually stopping me from playing alts, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
fun the very
I agree.
first time you get your runes. It's kind of interesting. Then on your second, like the Dark Rider's rune, I've done it once. I'm never doing it again.
That's the one you need for melee hunter. That's why I'm not playing it. So
It's almost a question whether they should make it just like more of like an account bound thing where like you did it once on the character, you accomplish your goals all the way to, you know, the last level. Now you get to have the, you know, easier access like they kind of like did back in even the days with like Diablo. If you guys ever played like, you know, a lot of the older Diablos, if you completed your journey, then you had adventure mode. And then like through adventure mode, you were able to now, because you already beat the core game, now your other alts can have a better access to getting these little things, but of course not the end goal things. You still need to communicate. You still got to go to LFG, you know, do a pug every MC or whatever, but just making an easier access for alts. I 100% agree on that on all accounts.
I mean, Agron did say they were planning on adding a way to get runes later on. They just ran out of time for Phase 4's launch. I just hope it doesn't last, like doesn't come out in Phase 6, like in AQ. Like, hopefully this phase, because I know people would love to level the alt, but like just the daunting grind of runes is just...
Yeah. Just let us buy him at the trainer at this point. Like, not like, you know, that discovery aspect is gone. Really, that's been gone since Phase 1. I mean, most people just opened up Wowhead and went and got their runes when they were found, right? Even in Phase 1. So let's be real. Like, I think if you just put them on the trainer as regular spells that you can just go purchase, people would make so many more alts, myself included.
you're telling me you didn't individually discover every single one of your runes by yourself?
No,
We had to
the
pretend
only
that for
rune
so
I've
long.
ever found. I found one rune without reading a Wowhead guide on launch day, and that was Seal of Martyrdom, and that was fun. It was a lot of fun to like figure that whole thing out with like a group of paladins in my guild. But other than that, I haven't found any runes.
Yeah, there was no discovery. Like people were telling on the Druid, when the Druid rune, within the first 10 minutes, people were yelling, "This is how you get it in general in the Tauren leveling zone." So like there was no discovery.
The Phase 1 was fun because of that too. Like everybody just
was,
yelling, and it was like chaotic. It's like, wait, there's a book in a basement in the cathedral. Where's it at?
Yeah.
Literal Barrens chat. We had the best Barrens chat, bro.
Oh no, it's great. Phase 1 was great. Well, at least with like finding
was.
the runes, there was so much fun things going on. Everybody was reckless, and even Wowhead was like, they're like, give us some time, give us some time, you know. But it was pretty fun, man.